Hello everyone and welcome to Kentinue Music, the show that shines a spotlight on upcoming artists from the county of Kent in the southeast of England. I'm Alex Lane.
And I'm Martin Bromfield, and today on the Beanbag we have James Dunne.
Roll the titles!
Boom!
Hello everyone, we've got James Dunne here, let's clap him on!
How's it going, James? How you doing?
Not bad, and yourselves?
Very well, thanks. Thanks for coming down.
No, thanks for having me.
Share some stories with us today.
That's
Looking
it.
forward to hearing what you've got.
Been wanting James Dunne to come in for a while, and there's a lot to unpack with this boy, so let's get straight into it. Now, I'll tell you something, I just come back from a trip in Nashville last year.
Right.
I'm at this songwriter night at the Mulholland Micro Pub in Gravesend. We're plugging this place all the time.
We really are.
And this guy bowls in with this Stetson hat on, this big belt buckle, like all Howdy Partner, and I'm thinking, is this guy stalked me all the way from Broadway?
From
in
Nashville. It was like it was meant to be, yeah.
And I'm just looking at him like, I was like, please deliver. He delivered, because he's sitting here right now.
Amazing.
But, James, there's so much about you that we want to unpack, but I want to start with the very start. How on earth... Where did you grow up? Where was you initially born?
So I grew up in Finchley in North London.
Oh.
And that, yeah. Tottenham fan.
Are you?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Why is he here then? If I knew that, you would.
It's about music, come on.
That's it. I mean, my accolades are as empty as their trophy cabinet, so, but there we go. Maybe I'll get one more. Maybe I'll get one more type with a Maywheel.
Right, so Tottenham.
Yeah, I'm not interested in football though, to be fair. It's just a team to grow up. I played football when I was younger, but...
Really?
But yeah.
But where did the music... How does someone from North London, though? Because North London, I wouldn't say is country.
No. So I grew up, modest means, good household, loving parents. My parents are Irish expats, so grew up in North London. My dad's from County Cavan in the Republic of Ireland, and my mum's from County Cork, so north and south of the country. And that. And I grew up listening to Irish folk music, essentially like traditional Irish music. And I'm the youngest of 7.
Really?
So, yeah.
And what's that like?
Well, they were all a lot older. So, the closest brother I have, in age difference, I mean, he's 38, so, and I'm 34, so there's a 4-year gap with that. And then the next one is sort of almost 20 years.
Wow.
But being the youngest, you're obviously the favourite.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, most talented, most handsome. Nah, it's bullshit. No, it's bullshit.
What age was what moment was the eureka moment where you were like, I quite like this music thing?
I suppose...
When did you get into it?
So, my eldest brother, Chris, he was a massive Chili Peppers fan.
Really?
And that, yeah, so, well, he still is, fucking loves the Chili Peppers and groups like Faithless and stuff like that. So I grew up listening to such a diverse range of music. And then obviously growing up to traditional Irish music, there's elements, if you look at Appalachian country music, that's where the root is, from Kentucky and everything. So, like, there's no drum kit in it. It's all, everything is sort of bass driven through, through a big upright bass.
Yeah, acoustic.
Yeah, it's acoustic, and it's. I think it's the best music there is. But personally, my opinion, just for the feel of music, generally speaking. And then, so I went through the stages of, growing up. Then sort of discovered Nirvana, Incubus, and bands like that, and then sort of really thinking, fuck, I like the punk scene, and the. They call it emo now, but we were, but it was grunge when we were growing up. And, and then I saw guys playing guitar and I could never figure it out. So we had like this really shitty Pearl Export kit, the battered drum kits in the school music room. And, there was a lad, I haven't mentioned these guys' names for years, but Josh Stone, guitarist, Alex Newbury on bass and everything, and that was our little school band, and I played drums. And I remember us doing a battle of the bands, and we done Smells Like Teen Spirit. It's just that.
So you played drums first?
Yeah, but do you know, if you asked me to play drums now, I probably couldn't.
Right, it's a long time
Couldn't
ago.
do it. It's been so long,
Fair
you know.
enough.
I mean, I was what 14, 15.
Right, right.
And then kind of like always listen to music, you know, and passionate about music, and it's because it gets you through every mood. I think you know and different genres of music can invoke a different emotion and get you through different sort of periods in life or whatever. I mean, like, you know, I'm an army veteran, and in Afghanistan, like, you know, they're a dirty word now, but lost profits was so prevalent.
Oh, right, really?
With their stuff, like, you know, Rooftops, 4am Forever, you know, stuff like that. They were such hard hitting stuff, and then obviously, you know, he had to be he'd done what he'd done, and then you kind of go off listening to that because you know, and then you can separate the artist from the art after a while, sort of thing. And then meeting some sort of American soldiers doing exchanges with the Yanks and all the rest of it, country music started coming to the fore again. I thought, you know what, this is me, this is my soul in music.
Getting into country music,
absolutely.
While into the army.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So, you know, and then because it's the truthfulness and the songwriting and everything, and it's just, there's a different song for every emotion of how you feel.
True.
You know, and the one song can take you through all of those emotional roller coasters.
Agreed.
And that's the beauty of I believe, of country music. Yeah.
See, to think like before we started this interview, Arthur was a bit worried about out of his depth in the whole country thing, because you and I we live and breathe country music, but like you'll be able to relate on like a songwriting perspective. Like country music, you've hit the nail on the head. Is storytelling music.
Of course it is.
Yeah. It is, and you touched on something at the start there about very early country music. There's a big stage in Nashville that you may or may not heard called the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
And it was forbidden in the Grand Ole Opry at that time to have drums.
Yeah.
Having drums in country music was just no.
Sacrilege, yeah.
Really?
No. And the Grand Ole Opry is like the Hall of Fame, the holy grail to play.
Wow.
And but the drums, you're right. You hit the note, it's not allowed.
But once you play the Opry, you've made it in country music, I think.
And then you can get inducted in the Grand Ole Opry, and that is.
So would you say Nashville is like considered the place for country music now in the world? This is an interesting question.
Yeah, this is a really controversial issue.
And probably being the Nashville favoured and the Texas favoured, there may be a bit. I personally feel like Nashville is, but like the Texas are bringing that their country scene is becoming more mainstream, isn't it? It
is now, but it's a completely different sound. I mean, you've got, you know, they called it hillbilly music before, and then it became bluegrass because it sounded derogatory. But, you know, hillbilly is a term that came from the people who couldn't afford flat land and they moved into the hills. But then it became hill music, you know, and you kind of associate it with like Deliverance, you know, ding 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 ding, you know, the banjo going, you play a mighty fine banjo, boy. You know, so everyone says, "Oh, you like country?" They immediately think you're like you're a hit.
Yeah. Think of that, not in a bad way, but that is just what comes to mind.
Back in the day, initially when I first got into country music, because I got introduced to country music with Rascal Flatts. That was like the early thing.
I think a lot of people did, to be honest, because you only got a limited amount over in the UK.
It was country, but it wasn't full on. There was full on country songs that it had like backwards and stuff like that, but it was like it had that pop element in there. But that was like the early thing for me. But like when I said back in those college days, I like country music and all I listen to is country music, the immediate thing is, if I'm being for Cotton Eye Joe, where's me horsey, where's me hat? And it was so annoying. But nowadays,
like C6 Steve, and I mean that's country as well.
Yeah,
but nowadays, with the people like Luke Combs, I think are making country kind of cool now.
Yeah,
I would say
developing into something
because he's crossed over. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, they're breaking the mainstream top 40 charts over here and stuff like that, and it's about time because the music was unrecognised. I mean, I've got nothing against any artist, you know, it's an establishment that I have an issue with, because there's a lot of people get overlooked. I think, you know, you look at Nashville. I mean, I've got very personal views on the sort of country music industry, the British country music industry as a whole, definitely. Because there's people that are in the genre who aren't country at all.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, and it's they can't make pop charts or whatever, so they're going, I'm country, to go in and do it. But the thing is, it doesn't mean you have to be a cowboy, drive a tractor, or anything like that. It's values.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah. It's interesting how you say that, but yeah.
You know, and the thing is, it's difficult because not just getting overlooked for stuff, but you go, how are you country? You know, it's like you can't sing about a fucking being a cowboy if you've never ridden a fucking horse. You know, or roped a cow. You know,
yes.
I'd like to see any people who live in an urban setting actually point out a bloody cow.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one thing that in my songwriting, I wouldn't class myself as a musician. I class myself as a songwriter.
Yeah.
You know, I play basic cowboy chords and I made some work.
That's interesting, and I want to talk about you for a second because I really like what you're doing. Why would? Because I say what you just said, but why do you see yourself primarily a songwriter than an artist? Is it a confidence thing?
No, I don't think it is. I mean, you can still be an artist and a songwriter, but I think the term musician comes from somebody who's mastered their craft on an instrument. My personal belief, and there's a very different sort of element between a musician, a songwriter, and an artist, because you have an artist that can sing. Don't get me wrong, and they're extremely talented, and their voice is their instrument. You know, but then you've got a songwriter that puts those words to paper. And, you know, and whether it's from a personal standpoint or they're a great storyteller, you know, as a songwriter, you're a storyteller, is in my opinion. But then you've got a musician is somebody who can play their instrument or whatever, you know, and so you want
to call yourself an artist?
I suppose, I guess.
You've got a look.
Yeah,
like you've got the James Dunne look. Your sound. Do you know how hard it is? I don't know if you would agree. When you're starting out as an artist in a band, how hard it is to come up with a sound. Unit 48, you've been working on the funk sound.
I think we managed to get a sound as such. Yeah,
but it takes time.
Yeah, it takes a long time
to develop that sound.
Absolutely.
You've put out an EP, saying you've done music for the last 2 years officially, and I'd say you've got
not even 2 years. Yeah, I mean, I started dabbling with guitar a bit more, you know, in my later teens, I suppose, and everything, but I only started playing again properly, like you say, 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I would say you've got a sound. You listen to your EP, and that's a James Dunne sound.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. Sort of, you know, that's what you get, and you know, one thing I always say is you bare your soul, you don't sell it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what my EP is. You know, and there's talk of going full band and all the rest of it, but it's so hard to find. And maybe I can try and break the mold of a solo acoustic artist playing a main stage somewhere.
Yeah.
Doing it a bit different. I mean, Tyler Childers, one of my absolute heroes.
You love him.
Does it? Yeah, I think he's a musical genius.
That's a good point, actually. That you've just that you've just touched on with the band situation. So, is that something that you do sort of you're still thinking about doing?
Possibly. I mean, I'd love to. So my second single off, you know, and it's on my EP, Black Train. I think it's got so much potential to be full band. Because it's a darker sound. It's very sort of thumpy going, and almost like the rhythmic sound of it is like a train sort of thing, you know. And one of the most humbling accolades I ever received as somebody is they said I was like the British Johnny Cash.
Oh wow!
To a certain degree, and that was from Dom Crook and he's a radio presenter, and it was so humbling to sort of, you know, and he's a hero as well of mine. You know, just 3 chords and the truth. He is the man that's
country music.
You know, and that's country music. That, you know, Hank Williams was one of the forebearers for that and everything. You know,
that
and
must have been really quite a nice
I was a
to
bit
hear.
sort of
Imagine.
You know, knocked for 6 on that, and but that's something that I want to carry on trying to do. You know, and I think it's prevalent in my songwriting. Because I'm limited in my ability of playing the guitar, and I think a lot of it's time constraints and being able to get the time to just sit there for days on end noodling or whatever. I think noodling, you end up going off-piste anyway, and you play the same thing over and over. But I think with the stuff I play, I make it work for me.
Yeah, do you know what oh my god, I touched on that so well.
Yeah.
To be fair, I see a lot of similarities in us because I personally feel like that's a confidence issue. I think you're really good. I've seen James Dunne live. If you ever follow him on Instagram, James Dunne Music UK, when he announces a show, go see one of his shows because you are not just really talented, you are so funny with the audience. And we've done a gig together.
Yeah, it was good.
And it was such a laugh. And if you ever get I think you sell yourself short. I think you're incredibly talented. But like when it comes to songwriting, would you say you're a prolific songwriter? Do you write a lot?
I've started to. I mean, so Duty, my initial release, is more of a sung dialogue than it is an actual song. So obviously, it's sort of gaining on it or looking back into the rights and wrongs of, I suppose, a soldier. I'm a father as well, and stuff like that. And it's just thinking, am I going up or down?
Yeah.
It's sort of like that thing. And I've had this. In another interview where I was speaking to somebody and they said, would you say you're a religious man? And I was like, well, not really. I'm not openly religious. And they said, but you sing a lot about God and the devil in your stuff.
Okay.
And I was like, maybe subconsciously I am.
Yeah. Wow.
And
That's
there's that faith element there.
Yeah.
And again, that's probably why country music has spoken to me so much in what I do, because 90% of them are God-fearing.
It is true. Country music, it is.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
See, I'm learning a lot today, guys.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
And they're an
an
extremely humble bunch.
Yeah.
They're thankful for everything.
Yeah.
And this is and there's it's a way of getting your views across. But if you can, and I suppose the beauty of music is as well, is if you can make somebody else feel what you feel, or they can interpret your music to feel what they want to feel, then you've done the right thing.
You have, yeah.
The hardest thing I feel, don't know if you agree, is when you write a song. If you can make someone feel happy writing a song, that's a great feeling. But if you write a song and it sounds so messed up, but if you can make them cry, it's so good.
Yeah.
Because if you can move someone that much to make them cry, you're good.
You've done your job.
You've done a very good
that's
job,
something.
Yeah.
And dude,
it's like a message, isn't it? Being in the army, has that affected your songwriting and how you perceive music?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a massive influence in my songwriting. I think I'm 34 and wrote my first song at 33, and I think leaving it late in life, I've managed to get 33 years of life experience
before
I even started, and I think that's. At least going into it now, I've got a story to tell. Yeah. And I can tell other people's stories that I've met along the way as well. I suppose is another thing.
That's so impressive.
And songwriting, but just again going back to the Mulehole Originals night that we do together, there's young 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds that can write phenomenal songs, and even globally they can. You think, where have you got that from?
Got that experience,
I've had to wait 33 years
to gain all that, but it sounds like it's actually helped you write all these songs as well.
Massively so.
Yeah.
Massively.
And now you're
so.
sharing it. Well, I'm hoping you're sharing it with the world, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your EP. So your recently released EP.
Yep.
Titled Black Train.
Yep. So. Came out on the 20th of May, and I'm extremely proud of it. I wrote all the songs on it and the music and everything, and it's titled after my second single, Black Train, and I thought it was quite fitting, just keeping that train running, I suppose.
Tell us about the title. Tell us about the title. What is the meaning behind it?
It's a really interesting title.
Black Train.
So I was just Black Train, I suppose, is life. It's the long black train,
that you're riding.
Yeah, that you're riding. You're riding through life, aren't you? You're on a journey or whatever, and a train goes in one direction, doesn't it? It doesn't turn.
No.
And obviously you can roll it backwards, but obviously
it's on the same track.
It's on the same track.
Yeah.
So your life, even though you've got different paths, some people say, I think you always go on the same track. It just depends on what stops you get off at. If you want to keep the fucking analogies going on. But I started writing it, and obviously it's a glimpse of I've got this kind of theme going on at the moment. I'm getting the angst out with my songwriting. You know, I've had a lot of trials and tribulations in life, and like most have, and everything. You know, I'm a veteran. You know, bad breakups and stuff like that. And I've got this thing of writing metaphorically and everything. They're truthful. Obviously, what it means to me is one thing, and what it means to somebody else, they can interpret in how they want to, essentially. And Black Train, I'm sort of, you know, writing that. And I wrote it really late at night, you know, but like 2 o'clock in the morning, jobby and everything. Yeah. Fell asleep, woke up, finished the song, you know, at like 4. And it was one of those one of those moments, and I've had that quite a few times, and I've spoken to other songwriters, and they say I've always got a pad and pen with me for such a time. I mean, now you've got like 21st century and all that sort of jazz. You got your iPhone, you put it in notes.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't think that they have the same meaning unless you write them down, physically write them down.
Also, I find with songwriting, if you're writing your phone, you can delete stuff and it's gone forever.
And you forget about it.
If you've got a notepad, just put a line through it, and I can guarantee you that little line that you didn't like for that particular song, when you write another one, that line will fit.
Yeah, I've used that.
If you just put a line through it, just put a line through it. It could be a rhymey word, it could be a title, it could be you could use that. That can be baked for another song.
Definitely.
So I do agree with you.
And I've done that loads of times. You write a verse and you go, actually, I've kind of gone away from the song here. You like digressed a bit too much from that song meaning, and then
we'll keep that for maybe for something.
But that's fucking. I find it. I've got another melody that will fit that.
Yeah. You can put somewhere else.
Yeah, that's it. You know, and you kind of regurgitate stuff and recycle it.
So what is actually your songwriting method? Is that it? Or what would you say? Or does it vary? Are you more lyrical?
Yeah, I've started to be now.
A title like Black Train, I think you're pretty lyrical. Was that a mad title?
You know, I mean, you've got Duty is on there. That was my first ever single, and then Black Train, Righteous Man, Haven't Killed Me Yet, which was supposed to be untitled, but Spotify wouldn't let you have a song called Untitled. So we had to put a name to it, okay. And everything is quite a bluesy country song.
That song is actually becoming a favourite of mine.
Yeah, and a lot of people like that.
Haven't killed me yet. Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
Dun-dun-dun. Wow. I love it, and there's a little bit of a kick drum in the actual recording.
Yeah, so
when he plays that live, it's just a really nice feel. It's becoming one of Black Train really stuck out to me. But whenever he plays Haven't Killed Me Yet, I'll be honest, I was singing it today. Yeah. Because obviously we're getting in the room with James Dunne and I was singing that song. Can you tell me the meaning behind that song? Because there's a lyric, put the noose around my neck, you haven't killed me yet. Sounds a bit dark.
So...
But what is that song about?
So basically, Haven't Killed Me Yet is an interpretation of bad relationships where you give everything to somebody and everything. Don't get me wrong, there's two sides to every story, but there's only one truth. Mm-hmm. And it was... The thought process behind that, it's all going to come out in the open now. This is fucking brilliant. So,
go on, James.
So I was having a conversation with an ex, and it was one of those conversations where you feel like you're banging your head against a brick wall. And it was very quickly. I wrote that song in about 15 minutes.
Always the best.
Wow. And they are. If you can write up, it's weird. If you can write a song in one sitting, you've done it.
Yeah.
You know, and it has to be organic. Yeah. You know, don't get me wrong. I've finished a song recently, and it's taken me 3 months to write it because I didn't have everything there. But it all, you know, it's all come out and I finished it. But my better ones, personally, in my opinion, are the ones that I've written straight away in one sitting. Yeah. Even if you're religiously, you're there for hours just doing it. But Haven't Killed Me Yet was done in about 15 minutes. And it's basically about, you know, there's one bit in there, you know, one thing I should mention, you better seek redemption for all your evil ways. And I think, you know, with my songwriting and everything, I've become more eloquent, I suppose, for want of a better term. And everything, and sort of like going into bare bones thinking, right, well, do you know what, it's my platform, you know, excuse the language, but fuck you, I'm going to say what I want to say. Because everybody, you know, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one, but you're only but yours doesn't count. And that's kind of the way we're going now. You can't. The only way I can say what I want to say is through song. Right. I think, because if you try and speak to somebody or whatever, it's an outlet, because you're never able to finish an argument, even though you know you're right. Yeah. Some people will just not hear your opinion or your point of view. Because of for whatever reason, and I don't think that's just in past relationships or whatever. It could just be in life in general. Whereas songwriting, it's my time and I can get my voice across and my opinions. But crazy. They're personal to me, and it's that weight off my chest.
But it's so good because you're ahead of time. When I first initially started writing songs, I was nowhere near thinking that stuff. I was just trying to write a song. Like, I was just trying to copy Busted Them at Fly at the time. That were like but like, you have already, early on, a year and a half, 2 years into the process, have gone, I am not going to play to the gallery. I'm not going to copy what's on the radio. I'm not even going to copy my favourite artists. I'm going to do music for me. And if you like it, great. If you don't, I really couldn't care less.
No.
And that is your mindset. And to have that already, these are your early songs. Another two years down the line, you're just going to elevate and elevate and elevate. And I just think it's exciting for you. Like, I've got to say it. I know I'd probably sound like an absolute fanboy, but I really like what you're doing, dude. I really love what you're doing. And you are ahead of time. And at the start of this, you turned around and said, oh, I'm just a songwriter. You're not. You are an artist. You're proper quality.
Thank you.
And I freaking love you, even though you're annoying at times.
The feeling's mutual.
I've just got to say. Can we talk about? I want you. You really went in there and you went in hard. Then I freaking love that. We're going to clip that one, but I want to talk about a song that when you played it live for the first time, and I think I was there when you played it for the first time. You were really kind of restricted and cautious when you played it, because you're showing that vulnerability, and again, to show that vulnerability in your songwriting this early is really, really good. It's really good to really open up like that. Can you talk to me about Righteous Man?
So, Righteous Man is it's a difficult song to play, really, because it's one of those I have to sit down playing it, and most of my sets I don't have a seat and everything, and it's written for my partner Sally. There was a period in our relationship, and this is me opening up and everything, you know, where I'd done some wrongs and everything, and it's you know, and the genre of music I do is outlaw country, and obviously for her, you know, there's a line in it, you know, there was a time you had to meet that outlaw sinner. So basically, you know, she's the driving force through my music. I just write the songs and play them, but everything else behind the scenes that goes on, like getting the gigs booked, all the social media, because I'm a fucking dinosaur, you know. I don't like social media. Personally, because I think it's so narcissistic, and people abuse it, and everything, like, you know, the people use it through influencing and all the rest of it. I get why they do it. I mean, go around taking pictures and making millions off it, why not? You know, if you can do it, why not? But that's not me. I like grafting, I like doing my day job and everything, and working hard. But you know, the same with music. You know, you bust your ass to try and do, you know, you're bearing your soul on stage. But Righteous Man is a song, and that was another one. That was, you know, again, moment of clarity. Fell asleep on the sofa, woke up, wrote her a song, and played it to her that night. You know, and that's
it came naturally.
Yes, and it did, and it's an apology for anything I ever done wrong. You know, because after everything that she done to help me, and you know, and we had a bit of a wobbly patch, and now we're stronger than ever.
I can see it in your eyes, dude. I can see it in your eyes. That
it's
song
it's an emotional song.
Yeah. And when
I'm proud of it. I'm really proud. It's so simple. It's 3 chords. It is 3 chords on the truth. That song.
But when he plays it, when you played it, I swear it was the first time you played it when I saw you.
The EP launch. Yeah.
And when you play it, when you go into that chorus, and then I met you.
Yeah.
You can so feel it when
we
you
met
sing
at work as well. It was one of
crazy.
those. Yeah. So I used to work on the railway. you know, I'm a diesel mechanic by trade, plant mechanic and everything, and I was, so she was the supervisor on the job, and that I met her in Godstone. The first time, you know, there wasn't any intimacy or romance at the time. Met her on a rail job in Godstone, and then, you know, didn't speak to her after that for, I don't know, well over a year probably, and then, you know, I'd broken up with somebody and I was sort of on my own, and then sort of we reconnected and met up, and, you know, she's an avid lover of country music as well, and I just thought, right, it's fucking match made in heaven.
That's great.
That's incredible.
And we're back with James Dunne, and he has got a musical item that means the most to him. He's got it on his lap right there. What have you got there? I can see a little Martin & Co. on the headstock over there. What are we talking? What are we saying?
This is my Martin Road Series D14E Zero Coat. Zero Coat being the lovely pattern of wood they've used. I think it's stunning.
That looks incredible.
Yeah.
So where'd you purchase? Where'd you get that? How
So
did that come about?
I got this at PMT. I traded my 2012 Strat in for it. I played one first at Anderton's, like great music shop. It was just, I happened to be in a different area, you know, obviously living in Kent. Guildford's miles away. And one thing Kent lacks is a shop to buy a good music store. They've all disappeared. The last one you got Strum and Bass now, I think.
And Elephant Music in Gray's End. And then
there used to be like Sharon Music somewhere as well.
There was a couple on Chatham High Street. And Elephant Music in Gray's End.
Yeah, go and see Albie. Albie works in Strum and Bass. Lovely, really good guy, good guitarist and that, and
that's it.
Musician in general.
Have you always wished to acquire a Martin guitar?
We had this conversation. If you remember, I played your Gibson, and I was like, "That's fucking amazing." You said, "Oh, you should try Martin because of your voice," and you're like, "If I do Alex, I've got to speak like that." No, you're joking. Anyway,
that's a source.
It's an impression that many people do. Okay.
That I can't do anyway. But yeah, no, you said, you know, try Martin and everything, and I think because of the kind of artists I listen to and everything, a lot of them play Martin or this style of guitar, and I have a 1975 Takamine which was based exactly on a Martin D35 that I bought, and it was kind of like the natural selection, I suppose, or the natural way to go, and now I've got it, I won't put it down. I just always want to play it. It's an incredible guitar, and I've wrote the whole EP on this guitar. I re-recorded Duty on the EP as well using this, and I've written a load more songs on it since, so, and hopefully more to come.
It's helping your songwriting because you just want to play it more.
Yeah, and it suits the tone of my voice as well, and
it does the thing. I remember when you played the Gibson, you played Haven't Killed Me Yet on my Gibson in the back room at the Mole Hole, and I was like, you was falling in love with that guitar.
Yeah,
and
I was pretty
like,
pissed as well, though.
It's not going to take it home.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I was pretty pissed as well, though.
Yeah, but no, it was so. But I just, because I think it's more for my style. I think the Gibson J45 suits me, but it's really basic. That Martin, the root note on it, just your playing style just suits. It's really gritty as well.
Yeah,
we can do a manner of things at Martin, and also you've got to mention also he is begging for an endorsement. He's got the T-shirt on as well. Is that what
you're after as well?
No.
That is difficult, I'm telling you.
I'm just fanboying. I love the product. I love the guitar. You know, and it's just, you know, I've played everything else. Don't get me wrong. I think everyone wants the top, you know, nice Martin D35 or whatever in there, you know, with all the pearl, mother of pearl on it, inlay and that, you know, you want that hanging on the wall. You want a J45, you want a J200, and you know, that would be a nice little armoury to have, and that, you know.
But you sound really happy with what you've got.
No, I really am. I tried everything, you know. I tried. I started gigging on an Epiphone J200, to be fair, you know, and never had any problems with that. My Takamine being like nearly 50 years old. The issue I have with that is it's got a 3-piece back on it and everything, in varying temperature. It just goes out of tune so quickly.
That's the only downside, but they are still good guitars.
It's incredible. It's a songwriter's guitar, you know.
Phenomenal guitars. Yeah. But for the money as well, they're a lot cheaper, I think, than Martin.
What year's your dad's one?
I have no idea, but it would have been
60s.
Probably 60s or so. Yeah, it would have been a really old one.
It.
Yeah.
So, but Martin is kind of like one of your dream guitar.
I love them. You know, I think the next one I buy will be another Martin, I guess. Probably go for a D18, which is just a slightly bigger one. Or
it's like there's just quickly, Vince Gill. He done this thing on YouTube. Vince Gill, and he was doing this. The American songwriter, the company, they did these contest winners got in a room with Vince Gill in his studio, and he's got like 50 to 100 Martins in a line. Have you seen this video? You've got to check it out.
Check it out.
But for you, it's like that would be the dream. Like in the future, like 10, 20 years down the line, there's just like Martins everywhere. It's just
I mean, I tried a lot. I tried, you know, I played Taylors and everything like that. You know, Gibson, I love him. I think they play really well. Hummingbird is probably more suited to my sound and that. But then I played this and I settled on that, and I thought, you know, I didn't want to put it down. I had to buy it. It was one of them.
You just knew straight away.
Yeah, and it wasn't a price point thing either. It was just the way it played, how comfortable it felt, and you know, and it just
felt natural.
It's brought my guitar playing along. So
give us a Kentinue exclusive. So you're prolifically writing. You've said you want to bring out an album. What was the last song that you wrote on this Martin guitar? Give us a title that will eventually be on the album, but we've got an exclusive here on Kentinue.
So I wrote a song for my uncle. He passed away in 2017. I hope I get that date right, because that's really bad. But I believe it is. Yeah.
Sorry to hear.
But you know, he sort of was a major influence growing up. You know, like positive and everything. You know, he had his own sort of battles and everything like that, but he was just a genuinely kind-hearted man, loved by everyone he met. And I was fond of him. You know, really fond of him. He taught me how to build brick walls and everything. He was a master. He was a master bricky. Yeah, master bricky. He was just one of them. Whatever he touched, he was able to do. You know, but just struggled in life and was taken by cancer. And I was asked to go and see him, and I couldn't see him that way. I didn't want to remember him that way. Yeah. So I've just had a bit of a moment and wrote a song about it.
What's the title of the song?
It's called Austin.
Austin.
Yeah.
And that will be on the album.
It will be on the album. Yeah.
That's an exclusive.
And it'll be an acoustic only song, because I don't think it needs anything else.
No,
that's really.
But also just. Thanks for sharing that as well.
Yeah,
to be honest, that's really
beautiful,
cool. The beauty of songwriting.
An inspiring interview tonight, actually. So thank you for your time.
I've enjoyed it, but there's so many things that we could have unpacked on, and we could have unpacked on today. But that is a wrap on the chitty chat part with James Dunne, and James is gonna. We're not done. Do not turn off. We're not
James done yet.
We're not done. It's a pun. It's a James Dunne pun.
It was meant to be.
And he's a poet, and he didn't know it.
He's so good. And Arthur likes trains.
I love it. I love trains.
Trains, planes, and automobiles.
Trains.
Alex
Lanes. Yeah. But
we got a song.
You're gonna play us out. You're gonna play us out. What are you gonna play for us?
I said I wanted an exclusive, so I think I was going to do Haven't Killed Me Yet, but I think I'll do Austin for you instead.
Wow. We've got a proper exclusive on Kentinue. Look at that,
a bit of a
That's it.
And if that goes #1 up the old Amazon charts,
you heard it here first.
Right here,
that's it.
James, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to be with us morons.
Really enjoyed it.
No, I enjoyed it.
And you two
Thanks
have
for
met for
having
the
me.
first time today.
I know.
I learned a lot. It was very.
Do you like James
inspiring.
Dunne?
I do. It's very inspiring. There's a lot more. There'll definitely be another episode.
Has to be. And do you like Arthur?
Yeah, you sound good guy.
I really wanted to stir up some beef there at the end. It would have been so good for like a to be continued.
What are you going to do, like a Harry Hill fight sort of thing? Fight!
James, thank you so much for coming in.
No problem.
He's going to play us out with his new song, Austin.
Yeah.
Austin, that's it.
I'm sure it's going to be a tearjerker.
In memory of.
Yeah.
It will be.
It'd be beautiful.
Guys, thanks for tuning in again. We'll see you on the next episode. Hope
and
you're all well.
All that's left to say is to be continued.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Got that call and it felt like I just hit a wall when they told me I should stay, but I couldn't see you that way. They used to laugh at me for wearing cowboy boots, but I guess that I hadn't got it from you. You had style and a cheeky smile. His name was Austin, the greatest uncle of all. Hard, but you were strong, and you always taught me right from wrong and how to build a wall. You used to drive around in your motor home all across this land. You used to roam, you were happy, but you were free. And I remember when you climbed that tree, you poked your head out the top and laughed along with me. There were good times long ago. His name was Austin, the greatest uncle of all. With a song, you go out with my daddy and get drunk as a lord, and my mama, she'd get real mad when the cancer ripped through you like a forest fire, and it tore through your body and your life expired. It's so cruel, you had to leave that way. And I'm sorry that I never came to see you that day, but my heart can never ever take to see you that way. But one day see you again. His name was Austin, the greatest uncle of all. The greatest uncle of all.